How's it going, Jack Tackers, and welcome back to another video for you guys. Today, I am going to be doing my review for The Walking Dead series finale, Season 11, Episode 24, which was titled Rest in Peace. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that little thing I did at the beginning, the little intro. Just wanted to show you guys some of the cool merchandise I collected over the years and kind of reminisce on the past and show you those old school memes from like 2013. And when I dressed up as Rick Grimes for Halloween like years and years ago. Just to show you how much of a fan I was of this show and am, obviously. But it's no secret that this show has kind of fallen off over the years. I'm just going to be honest. But I stuck with it, you know. Obviously, you know, I'm still making these videos. So it will always mean a lot to me, and I just wanted to kind of show that, represent that a little bit in the beginning. But overall, let's get into this review. This is crazy that we're actually here. It does feel really weird. Yeah, I feel like that's obvious. But what were my thoughts on the final episode of The Walking Dead? Well, overall, I gotta say, I liked it. And, well, should we just address the elephant in the room? I don't know. Should we? Should we, guys? Okay, we're gonna do it. Rick and Michonne, they're back. Holy shit, they're back. I was worried. I didn't know if they were going to do it or not. And a lot of people were like, don't get your hopes up, Jack. All right. Rick isn't going to show up in the finale, but I would definitely feel like there was something missing if he didn't show up. So I'm glad he did. And Michonne, which makes sense that Michonne would show up as well. I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, I could sit here for hours talking about what was shown at the very end of this episode, but all I'll say is that I'm so glad that they're back, and, you know, I'm excited for the Rick and Michonne spinoff. It'll probably end up being maybe the only spinoff I watch. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch Dead City, but the Daryl spinoff, like, I don't know, man. Like, the spinoffs, it's just too much. That's just how I feel. But I'll definitely watch the Rick and Michonne one, of course, for sure. But wow, I couldn't believe it. And I was so worried. I was like, oh, they're not going to do it. I actually almost came to terms with the fact that they weren't going to do it. But then they did. And I was like, okay, neat. But yeah, I'm so glad that they showed up, more specifically Rick, but obviously it was great to see Michonne. So yeah, what were your guys' thoughts on that? I'm sure most of you were very, very excited about that, because it was just awesome. So I wrote some notes to go over, what I liked. Overall, I liked the episode. It was solid. It was a good ending. It was a good conclusion. It was really, like, this is the way I'll put it. It was as good as it could have been. And I know that kind of seems like a backhanded compliment, maybe a little bit. But really, the situation the show was in at this point in time, yeah, it was as good as it could have been. And satisfying overall. Of course, you know, maybe it would have been a bit more satisfying if Rick and Judith met up. But it is what it is. Like, this is as good as it was going to get. And I respect that. So anyway, episode starts right off with Jules and Luke dying, which some people definitely speculated that they were going to die, or Luke especially. And I was like, all right, once I saw Jules go down and then Luke got bit, obviously, I realized, okay, he's a goner. And that was pretty emotional, to see Connie, Kelly, and Magna and Yumiko all just crying over his dead body in the hospital. That was really screwed up and kind of depressing. Another depressing thing that happened this episode, another big moment, Rosita dying. However, I will say this was rumored for months and months and months. If you're on Walking Dead Twitter, you guys knew that the rumors that Rosita, well, it kind of got leaked, but to me, it was always rumors because I never knew for sure if Rosita was actually going to die because I never saw any pictures. I never saw any videos of her death. And when she actually did reveal that she was bitten, I was like, okay, yeah, makes sense. But I guess I was somewhat spoiled for her death, but still not really because I didn't know for sure if she was going to die. But anyway, her death was very sad and really loved what they did with that at the end. towards the end with Eugene and Gabriel saying goodbye to her and her reuniting with Coco. Yeah, it was very good. I liked that. Also, another thing I wrote down, the moment when Daryl says, "We ain't the Walking Dead." It was a little cringe, but it was also awesome. I was kind of hoping they'd do it, because obviously, well, in the comic books, Rick is the one who says, "We are the Walking Dead." And then towards the end, he also says, "We are not the Walking Dead." And in the show, they remixed it a little bit. Rick says, "We aren't the Walking Dead" in like season 5, episode 10. And Daryl says it finally, which makes sense because Daryl was there in that episode when Rick said, "We aren't the Walking Dead." So it made sense for him to say it. And I was wondering if they were going to do it. I kind of felt like after a while they weren't going to do that line. But it was so important to the comic book series that Rick finally said, "We are not the Walking Dead." It was good stuff. And it was just a little bit cringe, but like simultaneously amazing. Just the way, I don't know. I don't know if it was the line delivery or the way it was kind of, because in the comic book series, it's after Rick gives this big speech, and Daryl was just kind of like giving this quick little, not really a full-on speech. So I don't know, but it was cringe, but in a good way. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, another thing I want to talk about is Lance is actually dead. So if you guys don't know, I absolutely love Lance. And as I'm sure a lot of you guys do as well. And they didn't show him as a walker until this episode. So I was just like, oh, Lance isn't actually dead, right, guys? No, he is, because they showed him at the gate and he was dead, as a walker. And that kind of pissed me off a little bit. I was like, dang, my theory that Lance is somehow still alive is not a thing anymore. I'm kind of joking, but I did want to bring that up because I thought it was funny. Another thing I liked, when they freaking blew all the walkers up in that massive explosion, that was incredible, to be honest. I think that's like the biggest explosion we've ever seen in the show, and there's been a lot of explosions on the show, I feel like, over the years. So that was awesome. Really enjoyed that. And then, so that was cool. That really, in terms of like a spectacle and the action of the episode, because, I feel like the Walking Dead series finale deserved to have a bit more of an action-y moment. This episode really did have it all in terms of action, heart, emotion, suspense, all of that stuff. It was good. And then we had a little bit of a time skip towards the end of the episode. It was a 1 year later time skip. Wasn't like a 30-year time skip or however long it was in the comics. Maybe it wasn't 30 years. I forget how long it was in the comics, but there was a little bit of a time skip. It makes sense because, I'm assuming Rick and Michonne are going to reunite with Judith again, obviously. So if Judith was somehow old, then like Rick should be there. So, but they didn't want to do that just yet. So I don't know. It makes sense. Whatever. However, the one thing I did, I guess it still makes sense though, because in the comics, it's kind of, I know I've been bringing up the comics and kind of comparing this episode to it a lot, but I guess feel the need to. In the comics, it's kind of hinted at that the walkers, or they don't really call them walkers in the comics, but whatever, they are a bit more rare, or like they're dying. They're kind of going extinct a little bit, and they're very rare because I remember in the comics, grown-up version of Herschel, Maggie's son, he kind of brings them out and they're like a sideshow attraction almost, and they're like rare. I kind of wish that happened in this ending a little bit, but again, it's only a 1 year time skip, so maybe we'll eventually see that happen in one of the spin-offs or something. But I don't know, I just wanted to briefly mention that because I really do think it was important to kind of show that the walkers are no longer a threat or something. Like, that would be a good conclusion, and I liked how they did that in the comic books. But anyway, and then obviously the ending with Daryl and Carol, that was super emotional, and Daryl actually leaving to go find Rick, presumably. So it's good stuff. Like, going back to what I was saying earlier, it was as good as it could have been this episode, and that's really a compliment. It's supposed to be a compliment. I enjoyed the episode, and obviously Rick and Michonne being back. Oh my gosh. Wow. I was just, it was pretty good. And the music this episode, the score, that moment when Daryl was riding off on his motorcycle, that score that was playing, I believe it was a score that probably Bear McCreary composed. That was amazing, with kind of like almost like a choir singing. It was like, oh, almost a little bit. Okay, that was embarrassing. Jesus. But yeah, it was great. I liked that stuff. And very emotional, showing all the flashes of past characters who are dead and stuff like that. It was great. It was good stuff, to be honest. And I really liked it. Yeah, it was satisfying overall. It was good. It was good. I mean, Rick was there, so I guess this kind of answers the question on whether or not season 10 or 11's my which one's better. I'm doing a seasons ranking video after this, so I don't want to spoil anything for that just yet. Almost did. But expect the ranking video of all 11 seasons within the next few days. Hopefully like Tuesday, maybe. I don't know. Depending on when you guys are seeing this. I'm going to try and upload this as soon as possible. If it's a bit late, I apologize. But anyway, I'm rambling now. I liked the finale. This is incredible. I can't believe that the show's over. Yeah, of course, please let me hear your thoughts on the series finale down in the comments below. And if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.